Okay, more on the no apologies tip. No, we don't have apology. We're not going to apologize. No, all this crying over, but the funding and this and that. Think of, all these students who aren't going to have, no. Another thing we did for free, well, sort of for free. Aaron Clary never works for free. The captain never works for free. Is the book Worthless, about the worthlessness of so many college degrees. Aaron Clary did the very hard math because he could do math very well. And that's why he doesn't have to work now at not 50 years old. We have way too many people going to college. The college is actually designed so that only 1/3 of the society even qualifies. That's how it's designed. That's been violated now for about 20 some years, with up to 60 to 70% of the population attending college sometimes. That's not because they're getting better and smarter because the teachers are better. None of that's true. That's this weird way of kind of arguing for productivity. But productivity doesn't work that way. There's so much percentage of productivity that comes from technological inputs. There's so much productivity that happens as sort of knowledge, the knowledge base of the society widens. But these are not, this is like, these 2s, 5s, maybe an astonishing 10%. But I'm sorry, anybody could get the bell curve. Anybody could buy this book, and then you'll be able to understand how this kind of thing is measured. Am I making it clear that people should have known how to read, and that's one of the keys to success in the first place? So that's one of the important parts of all. So it doesn't matter if you send a kid to college if they can't read that well. If their vocabulary is exceedingly small, it doesn't matter if they're at a college. There's abstractions that they simply will not be able to deal with because they haven't been taught enough language skill to deal with abstractions. And then there's the level beyond that, which is math, where you're actually able to hold abstractions in your head for a while you do another function, and represent it all in symbol on paper, so you get used to how in case you forget what you were thinking of in this other value or this other variable or something, a value applied to some variable or something. So anyway, you see, you start reading a lot. That's the key. This was something that many, many, many men have talked about in the manosphere, and have we talked to each other. And that's another issue. The internet allows you to share information with people. Some people, they don't like being in a classroom with people who they can't choose to be in a classroom with. You kind of can choose, I'm with these people, I'm in this school or this and that. But on something like the internet, you can actually get only the information from the people you want. And then, or you could widen your circle in the ways that you wish. Let me make this clear. As somebody without a big deal college education and such, I rarely find anybody who knows anything about genomics and the import thereof outside of the right wing. The right wing are the only people discussing the import of the Human Genome Project and all of the companies formed off of the Human Genome Project, the whole 23andMe controversy that popped up recently. We were on that like a long time ago. But we don't even know how this is something that the left doesn't pay attention to. So understand something about the no apologies coming from MAGA on this is because we teach our men. Remember that, think about it, and when you get a sense of kind of something menacing and fearful that you should kind of gain off of that, yes, that's what's up. Imagine being sort of like in a spy agency that's constantly having spy classes and what you would need to do to take over the world. See, that is the manosphere. It's a class on plotting to take over the world every day, all the time. Because you're a man and you'll get conscripted, you'll get thrown in a box. You're who will get jacked by the Elbonians and Swarthistanis. So it's fuck the world, take it over. That requires education, and we do it for free. Most of the time, most of us do it for free, because one day that young man, he might be the guy who you're going to need. You're going to need him to bail you out. You're going to need him to give you a ride. You're going to need him to hook you up with information on a place to rent in the town he lives in. It's like being in the mob. Maybe you ladies do the same thing on the internet. We don't know. We kind of don't know. And really, I'm more than willing to admit that, because if you admit what you don't know, then somebody might fill you in on what you don't know. Very, very manosphere way of thinking. I don't know. I should ask somebody. So we don't have to apologize about what we've done to the educational system, because we know who we're hurting. The educators. And that starts to come down to certain demographics, because the nature of who gets hired for it. I like that. Chew on that one for a moment. Because you see, we do the math. We take a look at the math and take a look at the numbers, and, we figure, tanking this politically, well, it'll cost very few of us men jobs. It'll cost a lot of women their jobs, but not us fellas. And not us fellas. So, yeah, let's do it. Let's see what happens. There's also that aspect to it. Both the manosphere end of the MAGAverse, you could say. We like to see what happens if we blow it up. We like to see if we attempt, what does it take to sink that? And because there's some things that we've determined are worthy of just getting sunk. You could reform it. Might be able to come up with some legislation to make that work a little better. But, we're boys. So we're going to just blow up your school system and your education system and watch it sink. Because that's fun. See it go boom. That's fun. And that's that. We're going to see what happens as everybody comes to fill in that market, in that field. Which, remember, a big part of the what's already happened with the right is that the right's already started to do this kind of thing, such as the Aaron Clarey School of Economic Philosophy. After I get through a couple courses that I've been crawling through, that's one of the ones I'm going to be taking. So I have some familiarity with accounting. I mean, I already use YouTube to look up accounting, boxing, exercise for wrestlers, so I could could stay spry. You know, I keep up on the latest on genomics and what's going on with behavioral, evolutionary behavioralism. I didn't go to college. I mean, YouTube is a lot of people joke about, and I found it was really, I keep finding men just love YouTube. Men love it. They love the fact that, like, there's just these explanations for things, walks through the videos shooting how to do it. There's the Chinese guy who rigs up that cell phone slash, what was it? It's a cell phone and, or no. He has what was it? A Bluetooth camera wired up to some bar that's holding a hose, and it extends, and then the Bluetooth camera is showing him what's at the end of the what's at the end of the hose, so that he can clean out his gutters. Goes through this whole thing. It's simple. See, camera on the simple. And and my friend was talking about it. He's like, dude, this guy was a wonder. It's like, and or like the channel, The Professional Homeowner. I forget what his name is, but he goes blah 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 blah. Professional Homeowner. There's a lot of this kind of stuff. Fixing your vehicles. That's priceless. Being able to fix things because the repairs are on there. Being able to, like, fundamentally rig up or have extremely cheap equipment that will work to make an incredible campsite. But you would have to know from a guy who is like, that's all he does. And he has a channel. And he tells you all you need. And some of these guys even challenge themselves to, like, camp with the least amount of stuff possible. And it's amazing to see their techniques of how they do these things. People who build Sampy houses. Serious? That's amazing. You see, that kind of thing, that internet connection, all that coding, that's what college is for. College is for that. College, yeah. That's who you need the coders at YouTube. You need the algorithm to work correctly. Once there's more people who are highly skilled and Rumble can afford them, most likely YouTube is either going to Google and YouTube are going to have to seriously change their approach to how they deal with the general audience, or they'll be overtaken by somebody's going to figure out how to do it. And it'll probably be actually a way that you watch, like, Rumble through an app that they allow, and that it's an even smarter algorithm. But that's my theory, because in a way I'm like, that would be kind of weird. And I don't know, everything weird like that in the long run tends to be kind of what happens. And so, like, I'm like, wow, I didn't think it was going to turn out like that. That's even weirder than I thought. We don't have to apologize. What we're doing is one of the best possible things for people who would already have guided themselves to success. Now the issue is, how are you going to make sure that black kids read? That's all it comes down to. You have to have black kids reading the Dune series or the Foundation series. That's how you get success. That's how you get a Mike Pondsmith. That's how you get him. You have a guy who reads all of everything Ray Bradbury he could find. You're going to have to understand how to really teach people how to read, write, and arithmetic again. And there's whole sections of the country that you can't, you have nothing. You have no way of doing this. This is why, see, in the long run, this luxury brand college that people can fundamentally just pay for because everyone's getting accepted in. And I really mean, I am now at the stage where there's people I'm interacting with on a regular basis. These are not people of normal cognitive ability. They are something is wrong with them. And they're both in college. They are both in college. No, that's the third person I've encountered. All with this kind of weird, like double weird autism. I mean, like where you're just kind of like, wow, you are intensely autistic and you really don't understand how much you suck. Like you have no idea how much you kind of fucking suck, you know. But then I'm like, and how intensely lazy and obviously aware of your laziness you are, you know. That's, wow, this is like, you know, an art form of shirking, you know, like I mean, to the imagine weaponizing your autism so that you could shirk. I have encountered this now multiple times. Multiple. And in the present generation. So these people were able to go get into college. Nobody said to them, no, you should go into the trades. Nobody insisted to them, no, you should go into the trades. This is what you should go into. No, because you see, these people want to do what they want to do, which is lazy things. They want to be a professional lazy. And because they are really good at math, but aren't very good at interpersonal communications with people, that, you know, who knows what's going to fucking happen. But they can read like hell. That is one of the things. We'll see what happens with them. You see, on the right, we would say to somebody like this, we'd be like, you should go into the trades. You should start engaging yourself also physically. You should start doing things that get you physically strong, able, and aesthetically good looking. Because that's health. And it's because so often weaponized autists are actually extremely unhealthy people. They have lots and lots of practices and lifestyle issues that just their cognition is just not set up so that they, without a lot of help, they can discipline themselves. That's really pretty even rare. The people of such a cognitive capacity that they simply can teach themselves, they can simply discipline themselves. That's very rare. This is why the manosphere exists, and we give them what they need. We send links. Like, I just can't even tell you. I get the feeling how you guys are like, oh, it feels so good when somebody has that aha moment. Well, we don't do that. We give somebody the path, the keys, and we see what ends up happening. Check in on them. Why? Because we're not women. So, oh, you know, how'd that work out for you? You know, like one of my friends, he knows it's taking me forever to set up my whole DJ setup and everything. It's taking me for fucking ever. But it's also that after like a hell of a lot of time, the whole setup now, my setup is it's about to be amazing. Like, I'm like sitting back like, wow, this has come together incredibly well. But it required me seeing how other people did what they did and how they set up their workspaces. And even kind of the thing of, like, I didn't understand why the quintessential gamer chair, did not understand that. I was like, why do they always buy these elaborate chairs, though? finally, after playing EVE Online for a certain amount of time, I was like, oh, this is really uncomfortable. Like, and then I started to think about it. I'm like, wow, if I was doing like serious PvP for a long period of time, like this discomfort would be distracting. You see, I had to learn that. I should have asked, I could have asked a question. Why do you spend so much money on your chairs, though? That is also a thing with men. We're cheap. We're averse to spending money. So we spent money on that. That's why I should have asked the question. And I would have found out a long time ago. But, so this is really something that there's not really a way around. We don't have to apologize. And now the other part is this. I'm going to sign it off with this. Too many of us know that too many of you are chomos. You mess with kids. Yep. Yeah, I said it. The union protects these people. Law enforcement tries to do something about it, and the district lawyers step in. Then beyond that, there's taxation for these school districts because they're supposed to be such a great thing that you got these great schools, but you don't get the long-term outcomes that you were hoping for that justify the taxes. So you got people living in all these cities paying all these taxes for all these schools, and then by the end of it, they're looking at like their first teenager, and their first teenager this is simply obviously not very skilled in the English language. Can't speak very well. I'm like, this isn't really something, I don't know. I mean, they went to school, but I mean, something about this isn't right. That's probably where it starts. Something about this seems wrong. Something about this seems not right. Usually by the time people have, their kids are out of school, they have discovered, like, the scam. That they were paying into something that really is a group of people saying the houses are worth this, so therefore the taxation is this. But yet, is this board of people who appraises housing and appraises the value of stuff, who are they? And what are they doing and why? Really, what are they doing and why? Like, what is it that makes it that, oh yeah, this house is worth this. This is how we appraise this, yada, yada, yada. Well, now people are starting to ask this question because a lot of people are starting to figure out, they're going, something about this doesn't seem right. How do these people always need more money when the number of children has fallen pretty much everywhere? Then there's the thing of how the teachers union has gone out of its way to try to make sure there's plenty of children coming in from other parts of the world, and that was supposed to keep you guys busy, keep the seats filled so that you could demand more money. And now that we're starting to get how this works, your system is going to have to get shut down. That's simply it. It's not something else. This can't be permitted. It's too shady. You don't provide the service for the price that gets the result for the client. When you provide this service, you falsify your ability to even kind of justify the provision of the service. So you appraise these houses, this much is the taxes, this goes to the school district, but the problem is do these people even have kids in the district anymore? They're paying for something that supposedly is supposed to be a great benefit to society. But you can't deliver that, because you can't deliver universally that people are up to normal standards of reading. From even not generation ago, off the plantation levels. This is another one. Then you get that horrible issue. When blacks came off the plantation within one of the I think it's the census, I believe it was the 1890 census, that off the plantation black people had higher levels of literacy than at present with graduating from public high schools in America. That the effort to have mass literacy was so effective then that it outdoes what, even with the technology inputs, even with the kind of the falsehood of the expanded amount of knowledge and IQ levels and diversetronics, that 1890, the levels of literacy of former slaves was higher than black Americans graduating now. So we get to totally take what you have and see what it looks like when it sinks underwater. You have no claims anymore. We don't have to apologize. Really, you guys should be.